Welcome to Locker Room Talk with Coach Cherry. This is Locker Room Talk with Coach Cherry. All of us that play sports, we know what it's like in the locker room before practice, after practice, before the game, after game. You might spark up a conversation about anything in the locker room. So every week, right here on YouTube, stop by for Locker Room Talk. It's not the Coach Cherry Show. The Coach Cherry Show drops on Monday, where we tackle a few topics. This is just a weekly check-in, and we might talk about anything. We got something I really want to talk about today. I want to address this. So welcome to Locker Room Talk with Coach Cherry.
I'm ready now, talking right now. Go ahead and go get it, just tell me how. When you want it.
We're here, Locker Room Talk with Coach Cherry, very first episode. I'm gonna open it. You see the locker, right? Charlotte Hornets. Now, let me say this. I am a Panthers and a Hornets fan. Have been from day one, will always be one. Let's see what we got in this locker. Now, whatever we got in this locker, sometimes I might have somebody. See, when you freestyle, where are my hip hop fans at? When you freestyle, that's just off the cuff. Huh? That's just off. So I may have somebody put something in the locker and say, Coach Cherry, talk about that. So I'm going to open up the locker today. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Come on up out of there. You see it. I know you see it. LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball.
Going straight to the top, this ain't a roller coaster. A picture worth 1,000 words, I'm a frame poster. It'll go right, it'll be alright, and it's so nice.
Now here on Locker Room Talk, some days I may plan something to talk about, or some days I may just have somebody put something in the locker. I was riding this morning listening to sports talk radio. And I heard somebody say something. They were talking about the Charlotte Hornets. They said, some people, the Hornets lost last night to the Pelicans. And I'm sitting there looking at the score. They blew the game. I'm talking with my oldest son. I'm like, yo, the Hornets are up 5. LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller's not playing. I know New Orleans is not good. I get it. Last night was their first win. But I'm like, yo, they're about to win with the rookies and the backups. They ended up losing the game. They were up with about 3 minutes left. They ended up losing it. And on the way, when I'm driving this morning and I hear people on the radio, some people are saying, fire Charles Lee. Charles Lee needs to be fired. No. First of all, fire Charles Lee for what? What are you going to fire Charles Lee for? The Charlotte Hornets are not losing because of coaching. No, that's not it. I'm going to be very honest with you. Losing because of coaching? Who's losing because of coaching? You think Charles Lee is the reason the Hornets are losing? No, come on, stop that. The Hornets are 3-5 right now. Let me tell you something. That ain't Charles Lee's fault. That's not Charles. When you get to the NBA, first of all, let me say this about the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets ain't never won. Ever. They've never won. The Charlotte Hornets started playing in 1988. So what are we in, 2025? It's about 37 years. They're almost 40 years old. Charlotte Hornets are almost 40 years old. They've never won. The Hornets have never even won their division. The Charlotte Hornets have never won their division. So how is this Charles Lee's fault? You've been playing since 1988, and I didn't say the Eastern Conference. That ain't what I said. I said the Hornets ain't never won the division. All the coaches they've had from Dick Harder, their very first coach, Dick Harder, all through the Allen Bristows and who else? The Dave Cowens and the late great Paul Silases. And if you want to mention the Bobcats and you want to mention Larry Brown and all these, I know I'm leaving out some coaches, the Steve Cliffords and the James Borregas and all up through the Charles Lee, ain't none of them won. You mean to tell me? As a matter of fact, let me look that up. Let me see how many. Because y'all are going to sit here and talk about, the Hornets. Look that up right quick. Because I know it's been a number of coaches. The Hornets have had 12. Charles Lee is the 12th coach. Out of 12 coaches, nobody's won the division. And you think it's Charles Lee's fault? Stop that. No. That's the players. The reason I'm going to tell you whose fault it is. You want to know whose fault it is that the Hornets ain't winning? LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges. I'm talking about this year. Sion James, Liam McNeely, Ryan Kalkbrenner. I'm leaving some people out. Con Knipple. Who else? Musa Diabate, Trey Mann. I know I'm leaving some people out. It's their fault that the Hornets ain't winning. Mason Plumlee. It ain't Charles Lee. You win with the players. At the professional level in the NBA, you win with, it ain't got nothing to do, I don't hear about that coach. First of all, ain't too many coaches coaching anyway, because the players don't really listen to the coaches at this level anyway. So don't put that on Charles Lee. You've had 11 other coaches before Charles Lee. Why couldn't they win the division? The players win in the NBA. Name me a champion. Name me a coach that has won a championship with some regular players. Who? What coach in the NBA has taken a team and won the championship, and when you look at their roster, you can say, they ain't really had nothing. They ain't really had nothing on that roster. Huh? No. OKC last year. Yeah, the best player in the game. Wasn't SGA the MVP? Didn't he lead the league in scoring? Wasn't he finals MVP? And the best player in basketball. Now, I'm not saying that there was no coaching. You ain't going to win unless you have players. That's the bottom line. So if you want the Charlotte Hornets to win, it ain't about selecting another coach. It's about getting the right. Now, if you want to say the Hornets haven't selected well in the NBA, now that's what you should be looking at. And I know this year right now, the rookies are playing very well. Con Knipple is balling, y'all. Ryan Kalkbrenner is hooping. Sion James is playing well. It looks like through the first 8 games, the Hornets have selected well. That's what it looks like. Where's my talent? Now, this is year 6. This is year number 6 for this guy. This is year number 6. He's as talented as they come. He's just not on the floor. How can you judge Charles Lee when this guy is not on the floor? How can you judge Charles Lee when Brandon Miller is not on the floor? And you're saying it's Charles Lee? Hold on. No. If Charles Lee is going to be the head coach, I am not evaluating him until he has his full team. Not doing that. Nope. I'm not evaluating Charles Lee until I see the full roster. Now, when they get the full roster, then I can evaluate Charles Lee, but not until then. I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing it. Because LaMelo and Brandon Miller, the last 2, and so now you look at a 3-5 Hornets team, they're struggling again, and they only won 19 games last year, but LaMelo only played like 43 games. Brandon Miller played less than that. He played maybe less than 20 games last year. That's not Charles. Grant Williams got hurt. Trey Mann got hurt. That's not Charles Lee's fault. You think it's Charles Lee's fault? Okay, but let me find this right quick. the Boston Celtics, right now, Joe Mazzulla, championship coach, championship pedigree. He coached those guys to they're 10th place right now, barely in the play-in. That's the same Joe Mazzulla that led him to a championship. What's going on there? You telling me Joe Mazzulla can't coach? No. Jason Tatum is out. Drew Holiday is gone. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. Al Horford is gone. That's what's happened. That's any coach. You strip them of their players, there's your results. There's your results. When I look at Charles Lee, I see a young coach with a lot of potential. Some are saying fire. If you give Charles Lee a roster full of talent and they stay healthy and they can't win, then we can have a conversation. Not until then. Look at these Hornets coaches. Dick Harder, the first Hornets coach, did not win 50% of his games. Matter of fact, Dick Harder won 23%. Now, I know I'm not going to be hard on Dick Harder like that because expansion team. So they were new to the NBA. We got it. I know they didn't have a lot. I like Kelly Tripucka. I like Robert Reed. I like Dr. K, Tim Kempton. Kurt Rambis at the end of his career. Wasn't the most talented roster, though. Let's be real. So Coach Harder, no, we're not going. Gene Littles came next. Won 30% of his games. Alan Bristow, the first Hornets coach to win at least 50%. He won 51% of his games. Now, he had players. Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Kendall Gill, Muggsy Bogues, Dale Curry, Johnny Newman. For my Hornets fans, you remember Johnny Newman? Dave Cowens, 61% of his game. Now you get into that Jamal Mashburn era. Talent, Eldon Campbell, Paul Silas, 57%. You got your Jamal Mashburns and your Baron Davises, and we got some hoopers now. Now we got some hoopers. And then when that era ends, Bernie Bickerstaff, 31%. Sam Vincent, 39%. The great Larry Brown couldn't win 50% of his games with the Hornets. The Bobcats then. 46%. Paul Silas, 27%. Mike Dunlap, 26%. Steve Clifford, under 50%. James Borrego, 46%. Steve Clifford came back again, 29%. And right now, Charles Lee is at 23%. When I look at my coaches that won at least 50% of their games or more, and that ain't great. 50%? That's not great. What is it, 82 games in the NBA? So if I go 41-41, that's not great. We don't have a coach that won 70, 65, 70% of their games. We just don't have that because we haven't had that talent. So from 91 to 2002, we had a little stretch where we were winning. Again, never won the division. Do the Hornets have the talent? I mean, what are your expectations for Charlotte? What's your expectations? My expectations this year, I don't see this, clearly not a championship team, not a conference finals team. I don't even think they're a second round playoff team. My expectations for Charlotte this year, number one, just stay healthy. My gosh, can we at least stay healthy? Just stay healthy. And then make the play-in. And if you get to the play-in, I expect this, if they're healthy, this Charlotte Hornets team to make it to the first round. I do. If I ask you to pick who's going to the finals right now, if I ask you to pick who's going to, you know what you're going to say? Coming out of the West. Watch this now. Watch this. Coming out of the West, you're going to say OKC. You're going to say OKC. You know why you're going to say OKC? Because they got SGA. You're not going to pick OKC because of their coach. You're not. You're going to pick OKC because they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Some of you might say Golden State because of Steph Curry. No, I'm picking them because of Steve Kerr. Stop it. If Steph Curry got hurt, all of a sudden they're not your pick anymore. Steve Kerr's still there. Steve Kerr's still there. When Steph Curry got hurt last year, season's over. That's it, season's over. Some of you might say San Antonio is sort of a dark horse right now. You might say, you know why? Because they got the most dominant player in basketball, Victor Wembanyama. You're not picking them because of their coach. And I think Mitch Johnson is doing a wonderful job. I think he's doing an underrated job. You're not picking San Antonio because of their coach. You're just not. You're picking them because they have Victor Wembanyama. Out of the East, some folk are going to say maybe New York. You know why? Because of Jalen Brunson. You mean to tell me you're picking New York to come out of the East because they have Mike Brown as the coach? No, you're not. Stop it. You're not doing that. You're picking them because they have Jalen Brunson. And because Now, let me ask you this. Is Rick Carlisle in Indiana a better coach than Mike Brown in New York? Most people would say yes. So why don't you pick Indiana? You know why? Because they don't have the players right now. Tyrese Halliburton is hurt. Miles Turner is playing in Milwaukee. You're not picking Indiana. If Indiana would have brought their full team back, Halliburton healthy, Miles Turner back, Indiana would be your pick to come out the East. Because of the players. We pick the teams based off the players. Phil Jackson had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Phil Jackson had Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. That's why people consider Phil the greatest of. Tell Phil Jackson to go coach the Atlanta Hawks and see if you have him as the greatest of all time. No, you don't. Tell Phil Jackson to go coach the Atlanta Hawks. Tell Phil Jackson to go coach the Toronto Raptors. And now see if he's the greatest coach of all time. Absolutely not. He has no shot at being the greatest of all time. None. Now, Greg Popovich, until they got Tim Duncan, David Robinson was there. And I think Greg Popovich is one of the greatest coaches of all time. But when they got Tim Duncan, now we got something. Now we got something. Steve Kerr. Tell Steve Kerr, I tell you what, you think Steve Kerr is the greatest coach in basketball? Okay. I tell you what, you think Steve Kerr is the best coach in basketball. Tell Steve Kerr to come coach the Charlotte Hornets and see if they win the title. Matter of fact, see if they make the finals. As a matter of fact, see if they even make the Eastern Conference Finals. Tell Steve Kerr to come coach Charlotte. And LaMelo Ball's not playing. And Brandon Miller's not playing. See what Steve Kerr can do with that. Since he's the greatest coach in basketball. No. He has talent. Look at my champions. The Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis was the most dominant player in basketball. Drew Holiday, we saw how valuable Drew Holiday was when he went to Boston. You gotta have talent. When Drew Holiday left Milwaukee and went to Boston, what happened to Budenholzer? They got rid of him. Lost his point guard. They got rid of him. The same coach that led you to a title. You think he forgot how to coach? I remember the late, great Dean Smith at North Carolina. Hadn't won a national title. Michael Jordan comes there his freshman year. Dean Smith wins his first national championship.
Flying high in the sky, defy gravity. Positive outlook, trying to avoid tragedy. A catastrophe. If I ain't picked to do a feature on your song, then it probably won't be lit. You hearing this? You in a good situation. Everybody saying they love it. It's integration. Coach Cherry's on point like a pencil. Swagged out, got more drip than a sniffle. Or popsicles in June or July weather. With God on my side, it's only gonna get better. I write a letter every night, that's a prayer. Write one in the morning, I use it for healthcare. Give back to those that ain't done it yet. Hopefully they can make decisions with no punishment. Man, I got love for my people. Trying to show them mistakes don't have to have a sequel.
Now, you think Dean Smith just learned how to coach when Michael Jordan got there? He already knew how to coach. And I like what somebody said. My dad told me this. A reporter came up to Dean Smith after the game and said, "Hey, coach, well, I guess you got that off your back now. People were saying you can't win the big game. I guess you got that off your back." And Dean Smith's response was, "I'm the same coach I was 40 minutes ago." So I love that response. You think I'm great now because I'm the same coach I was before the game started. But it took a great player like a Jordan to, now I can show my greatness as a coach because I have somebody, obviously Jordan makes the game-winning shot in the national championship. I got somebody that can do it now. Look at my champions. We know the Miami Heat. Cleveland with LeBron. Toronto with Kawhi. The Lakers in the bubble with LeBron. If you don't have players, when the Lakers won that championship with LeBron, I'm going to say this. When they were in the bubble and they beat the Miami Heat, Spoelstra was the best coach. I said Eric Spoelstra was the best coach in that series. He just didn't have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Oh, huh? Eric Spoelstra was the best. He took that team with Jimmy Butler and went to the finals. Oh, Eric Spoelstra was the best coach in that series. Hands down. I mean, you can go back to wherever you want to go back to. If you want to go back to Pat Riley, Pat Riley had Magic and Kareem. I'm not saying Pat Riley, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Pat Riley couldn't coach. That's not what I said. What I said is Pat Riley had talent. I cannot negatively critique Charles Lee until I see him with some talent. If you ain't gonna give Charles Lee no talent, then I don't want to hear about it. I want to hear about that. Rudy Tomjanovich with the Houston Rockets. When Michael Jordan stepped away from basketball, I got Akeem Olajuwon. I got the best in the. We about to win this thing. And then Clyde Drexler comes over. Oh, we about to win. There's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about that. Larry Bird and McHale and yeah, we're going to win championships. We have the best players. The team with the best players usually wins. Charles Barkley didn't get a ring because he never had the best team. Until Charles Lee gets the talent to be able to win consistently. Now, you know what? You got Charles Lee out there trying to win games with Con Knipple. Come on, man, don't do that to him. You have Charles Lee trying to win games with Ryan Kalkbrenner. Charles Lee is trying to put together a winning team with Sion James and Colin Sexton as his starting back. Man, y'all need to stop that. Don't y'all ever say nothing negative about Charles Lee. And the rookies are playing well, but if you're going to be real about it, what you want them to do? How much do you want Charles Lee to win when he's starting 3 rookies? What do you want him to do? That man is starting Sion James and Colin Sexton in the backcourt, and you're talking about why aren't we winning more? That man is starting Con Knipple and Ryan Kalkbrenner. Ryan Kalkbrenner probably weighs 150 pounds. And he's your starting 5 in the NBA. And your question is, why aren't they winning more? Look at what's on. And Kalkbrenner's holding it down to the best of his ability. Con Knipple's playing well. But y'all, if that's going to be your starting 5, you can forget about it. You ain't winning a lot of games. You're just not. Trey Mann is you're just not. That's not. And Trey Mann is a hooper. I don't know how much you're going to win with Trey Mann being your best player coming off the bench. That's the best you got. When you look at your, and Trey Mann can hoop, but when you look at your bench, the best player on the bench is Trey Mann? Nah. Charles Lee right now is trying to piece that thing together. Boy, he's trying to piece that thing together. Where's my tape? Scotch taping that thing. I ain't talking about no duct tape either. I'm talking about scotch taping that thing together. No. I got to see the Hornets roster healthy before we can properly and accurately evaluate Charles Lee. Not until then. Not until then. Got to get back on the court. And then you got to ask the question, at what point? How long do you keep LaMelo? How long? This is year number 6, y'all. This is year number 6. How long do you keep waiting? It ain't about his talent. You could trade LaMelo. He could go somewhere else and ball out. And people could say, dang, the Hornets traded LaMelo. But they gave him 6 years, y'all. I mean, how long do you wait? 10 years? Like, if they traded LaMelo after the second or third year, I could see that being early. But if you're giving him 6 years, and I'm not saying they should trade him. I'm just saying, I'm asking the question, how long? We'll see. This has been the first episode of Locker Room Talk with Coach Cherry. Again, the Coach Cherry Show drops every Monday. Locker Room Talk is midweek. We checking in with you on midweek, so you don't have to wait a whole week. Tune in to Coach Cherry. So we checking in on Mondays and then during the midweek to keep you updated with everything. We might talk about anything. I don't know what we're going to talk about on Locker Room Talk next week. I don't know what it's going to be. It could be football, it could be baseball, it could be hip-hop. I don't know what it's going to be. But check in and find out. I appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, Locker Room Talk with Coach Cherry. God bless you.
Talent plus drive, so he knew I could. Yeah. Looking back, I probably could have scored more. Watching old film, look at the scoreboard. No regrets, cause now I know my encores help the new players to soar. Let it breathe. Black kid walking through a private school.